We are back. Winning Women's Network is back for another monthly challenge. We are in the month of March, and so we are ready to take on the next big move for our 2020 year. How many of you guys enjoyed laying the axe to the root? We had such a great time really exploring the things in our life that have been holding us back, that have been binding us. What's interesting about a root is that a root, literally takes you back to the origins of something. And so last month we had a chance to really deal with the origins of a lot of personal issues that have been bearing fruit in our lives for a long time. And so now we're really excited this month to bring you the next challenge, which is all about you. You, the winning woman that is watching this live broadcast today. So we're going to send out a challenge to each and every one of you to do something that a lot of us don't often take time to do, and that is really inventory ourselves, not necessarily assess and criticize, right? Because women are very good at criticizing and literally just trying to expose or explore all of their faults and flaws. But this time, this month, we're challenging you to not necessarily go introspective and pick sores, but we want you to actually take an inventory of who you are as a woman and what that inventory means and says about the purpose and destiny that you want to achieve or accomplish, or how you want to set out and win. I tell winning women all the time, in every broadcast and every opportunity I get, workshop that I do, that winning starts within. That you can't win at anything that you haven't defined first, okay? And that you haven't literally structured and organized second. Winning is deliberate. It's not an accident. It's the calculated effort of the diligent. So you have to recognize that when it comes to winning, there has to be a plan in place. What I love about my mentor, Dr. Paula Price, that she would say all the time, that if you don't plan to win, then you've planned to fail. So your efforts, your energies, your focus, all of that is going towards something. And this is the month that we want to sit down and take inventory and start thinking about, where is that going? Where is the majority of my efforts going? Okay, let's talk about something basic like your thoughts. What are you thinking about? What are you focusing on in this season of your life? What have you produced to date? Where is your faith lie? Where's your values lie? Where are your priorities right now? All of those things are a part of the inventory system that you need to take to think about where your plan is and what you're planning to do. Because whatever the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But the reality is that what you're thinking about all the time, okay, is literally going to occupy or literally give you insight into what you're planning to do next. Because a lot of times we'll say, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm planning to do. I don't know anything. But the reality is you're actually planning to produce your thoughts, whatever those thoughts may be. If that thought is, I don't know, running away from problems, avoiding difficulty, being in that valley of confusion because you're scared or concerned about making a decision for the next thing you want to do with your life. Wherever that thought is leading you, wherever that thought is that's consuming you, that's your next move. That's your next big move. That's what you've been planning to do. So this month, we want to take charge of that. We want to be able to take charge of our thoughts, but we want to take charge of our destiny by planning today what we want to be and who we want to be. So winning not only starts within, but it starts with having an identity. Most people who talk to you about winning and who talk to you about how to succeed, they talk to you from the standpoint of activity. What actions should you take? But before you can take actions that are fruitful and that will help you get the results that you're looking for, you have to identify who you are. Who are you? What does that mean? What does that look like? What is that ordained or designed to achieve? Something that my mother asked me when I was very young, I was probably like 19 or 20. I know I still look like that today, but it's not true. That is the glory of God. So when I was 19 or 20, she would ask me all the time. Actually, I think it was earlier than that. I think the first time was 16 years old. And she said to me, well, what kind of woman do you want to be? In fact, here's what was interesting about that. I was asking her what she thought I should go to school for college. Okay, I was in a lot of drama. I did a lot of things like that. And so I was doing all those kind of things and very active in it. But I was also very intelligent and very interested in business and things of that nature too. Very loosely interested in business, okay? Nowhere near as, intense as the draw to drama was. So I'm asking her at 16, well, I don't know. I'm not sure what I should go to school for, what, my degree should be in. And instead of telling me to do this, that, or the other, to research this, that, and the other, she asked me who I wanted to be. Not just what I wanted to accomplish, not just what I wanted to achieve, not just what I wanted to do, because all of that's activity, all that's function. But she asked me, who do you want to be? And so I was challenged at that moment because at that time, I wasn't thinking about who I wanted to be. I was thinking about what I wanted to do. But she said the consciousness of who you are and who you want to be will determine what you do. What you do should come from a place of origin, of identity, of knowing what it is that your identity can produce and is setting out to achieve in the world, and not just from a slew of activity. Because when you approach it from the activity, how many of you guys have found yourself bouncing from thing to thing to thing, trying this, trying that? Oh, I think my calling is this. I think my purpose is that. And you're doing all of these activities and still can't quite find that thing that anchors you, because we're not taught to start with identifying who we are first. Most times it's difficult for women. You know why? Because we grow up with so many insecurities that it's hard for us to identify purpose according to ourselves and according to who God called us to become. Because let's be real, some of us are still working out liking ourselves. Okay, we're still working out how we feel about us. So a lot of times we want to use our activities and we want to use what we do and all of that to kind of cover that and really shellac some of those internal insecurities, doubts, fears, and worries and concerns about who we are, or sometimes just sheer dislikes and criticisms about who we are. So we'll hide in various things we want to do. So a lot of times it's hard for us to do that, and it's hard for us to find destiny and purpose because we don't always like ourselves. And the least, or I should say, the more you don't like yourself, the more difficult it is to find identity, to find purpose, and to get into that place of destiny. Because you're trying to distance yourself from who you actually are and what God put on the inside of you to actually produce in this world, because they become synonymous. You actually start making some of your skills and abilities and even native talents and all of that and potentials. You start making all of that synonymous with your internal feelings about yourself, which might be overly critical for some of us, right? So it becomes even more difficult. I was one of those people. I was so overly critical of myself. I couldn't see my native talents, see my native abilities, or if I saw them, I did not give them the appropriate value, right? Because I didn't like it. So it was very hard to find out who I was, and from that point, what I should do. And from there, setting out a plan to actually succeed at being who I am. See, we want to succeed at, being, good at the secretary at work, or good at a particular activity or calling or job or position. But winning is being good at who you are. That's success. The people who have sustainable success have mastered themselves. They're good at being them. And they're good at producing what they need in their lives and in the lives of others to multiply that, so that people want to buy into it. People want to, support them, give to them, use their services. They became good at them. And so success takes that. Winning starts within. You have to become good at mastering you. So in the process of becoming successful, you can't ignore first mastering or coming into a place of understanding your own identity. You have to be able to identify who you are. And that's where we get stuck. And that's what makes it very, very difficult. So that's why this month we're dedicating our lifestyle challenge to profiling ourselves as a winning woman. What does a winning woman look like to you? First of all, you have to be able to describe what winning really is in your life. And for some of us, we're going to have to differentiate winning from affirmation, winning from, feelings of security. We have to kind of differentiate some things. We have to go in and, again, take that stock and do that inventory to figure those things out. But this month, we're challenging ourselves. Who are you? Who is the winning woman? Who is that for you? What does that look like? What kind of woman do you want to be? What are you trying to bring into existence? What are you really trying to birth? And what can that do to accomplish or even multiply in the lives of others? What can that contribute? I should say it that way. What can that contribute to the lives of others? Because success is a multiplication of yourself in various ways. Whether it's a multiplication of your talent, your skill, your expertise, your knowledge, your personality, your wit, doesn't matter. It's a multiplication of yourself. So you have to begin to ask, well, what does that look like for me? What kind of woman am I? And what kind of woman do I want to be? And it doesn't matter what age you are, because again, this is not about picking swords and just going through all your flaws, but it's taking stock and taking inventory of what is the composition or constitution of who you are, because you can only succeed with your constitution. We cannot rob one another's DNA. Wouldn't that be nice though? No? Okay. But we cannot rob one another's DNA. So you're going to have to work with your own and turn that into what is necessary, what is optimum. Okay, how your DNA looks at the optimum. When you're operating at the optimum side of yourself, how does that look? And how can that impact, influence, and contribute to the world around you? Because when those two things begin to come together and find value and purpose in it, you literally have hit the pinnacle of what success is for you. And that's why it looks so different from each person, because each person has a different DNA, what we call destiny native abilities or attributes or aptitudes. Okay, all three do apply in different ways. So your destiny native attributes are what's on the inside of you. And y'all, come on, sweethearts, we cannot really change that per se. Now, we can change how they function, how they operate, what they do, whether they're going to kill, make alive, destroy, heal. Well, but what they are, the constitution of what they are is real. And so we have to be able to work with that. So I'm challenging you today, when you think about stepping out to win, when you're thinking about stepping out to do whatever it is that you feel like God's called you to do this year, let's go back. Again, going back to the root, right? Let's go back to the root. Who are you? Because as our mentor says all the time, identity is the key to destiny. So you can't literally reach the destination of something you have yet to identify. And so you have to go back and look at that. So this month, we're going to do a mental shift and begin to change our understanding. So when we're talking about who are we have to think about the things about ourselves that we value, that we know can be valuable. Okay, we have to do a values asset. We've got to do a perception, how we perceive ourselves versus how others perceive us, and how all of that causes us to have an overall optical view of who we are. Okay, so we got to do perception evaluation. We've got to do a value assessment. We've got to, turn around and then do a real skills, talents, and ability assessment so that we can begin to figure out exactly who we are from the inside. Because, see, when you know who you are, you know what you are designed to do and how to make that design work. But if you don't know what you're made of, then you definitely can't put anything into action or produce a product or a result. Or a lot of times the results for us are like surprises and flukes, and then that keeps you reacting to life and reacting to who you are instead of being in control of it. How many times could you say that you surprise yourself and now you're kind of reacting to what came out of you? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, wow. Oh. Instead of being at the place where you are deliberately controlling it so that it gets the results that you're designed to achieve. And you have to know what you're designed to achieve. So make your profiles this month. At the end of the month, we're going to come together. We're going to talk about your profiles, how you would profile yourself as a winning woman. What about you? You know it wins. Okay. What about you know can succeed or produce certain results, or that happens all the time? Pay attention to those things. People always respond to me this way. People always compliment me about that. People always tell me that I'm good at this. People are always attracted to me about that. Start literally pulling those pieces together and begin to profile the inventory of who you are. And then let's talk about who you want to be, how you want to use that. Pull all of those pieces together and decide who you want to become in this world. I had to discover myself that the power of getting through trials and tribulations, and I watched it even with my own mother as a role model, the power of getting through trials and tribulations was never forgetting who we are. It wasn't always doing all the right things or all the wrong things, or succeeding at the first time out, or failing or any of that. What got us through and what caused us to keep getting up and pushing was never forgetting who we are. Because I started living by my identity and not my conditions. See? Because conditions may change, but identity should be fixed and anchored. It should not be blown like a leaf blowing in the wind with every circumstance. Circumstances don't define you. What causes your circumstances to become what they are in your life, whether they'll bear good fruit or take you out, is how you define them according to your identity. Because how we each choose to respond to our trials goes back to who we think we are. So you have to ask yourself, like they used to do back in the day, who do you think you are? That's my question to you all today. Who do you think you are, ladies? Because that's the response that's going to determine whether you defeat something or are defeated. Whether you succeed or you quit. Whether you go after things or you fail. The question, it starts there. And that has to be identified before anything comes out. We often think that once the product is made, once we get the outcome, that should tell us who we are. No. Everything starts with the invisible first. It's our invisible ideas and notions and all of that actually inspire us and motivate us to produce outward results and products and solutions and outcomes. So all of that starts from within. So my challenge to you guys this Winning Women's Month, okay? First challenge is get involved. If you're in this group and a part of this network, get involved. Take control and begin to say, you know what? I am going to take inventory. I am going to take stock because I want to win. And I want my winning to be something that's purposeful and not something that catches me off guard or by surprise. And not only that, I want my winning to be something that is sustainable. Because see, what sustains a win is identity, not activity. Your activity can get you a win one time. But if you're going to stay on top, that's got to be determined by who you think you are. So I want you all to get involved is my first challenge to you. And the second challenge to you is to make that profile. Make the profile. Okay, so get out your journals, get out your pieces of paper and begin to sit down and say, yeah, that's the woman I want to be. I want to be confident. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be the other thing. I want to be bold. I want to be all of that kind of stuff. Begin to write that out because see, I like the way God works. He declares the end from the beginning. See, he never ever creates or does anything without his end goal and end product in mind. So he starts with his end product, he starts with his end result, and then he begins to work backwards toward achievement. So declare the end from the beginning, from right now. This is the woman that I know I'm ordained to be. That's what I want. That's what that looks like. And you may need to go find some role models and people out there who have the suite of assets and abilities and aptitudes and skills and all of that you recognize you want to achieve within yourself. Because without a vision, sometimes we just be perishing. We can't, okay? We can't do it. So you may want to do that. All right. I know that I've always had some strong female role models in my life that possessed character traits that I knew that were in me and that I was always attracted to and gravitated towards and that I wanted to be able to produce myself. And then of course we have our infamous Proverbs woman. I call it the Proverbs woman. Most people just stop at that 31st chapter or start rather at that 31st chapter. But do you recognize as we've been taught a while ago now, wisdom is a woman. So the whole book of Proverbs, really speaks to who we are. And I've always wanted to be a Proverbs woman. Proverbs 8 and 9, Proverbs 31. And so when I started Winning Women, it really came out of a place of understanding who I was and what God wanted to achieve in me. And it actually came out of my lowest point. It was a declaration in my lowest point of how I wanted my future to play out. My mentor said to me once, it's what you decree at the beginning of a trial that determines how it's going to play out and how it will or will not affect you. So at my lowest point, I decreed and declared I was a winning woman. And I stood on my whole life, okay, Proverbs 31:29, which says, many daughters have done well, but you will excel them all. And that's my word to all of you out there who are a part of the Winning Women's Network. That's our scriptural foundation. That is the goal that we're going after. Many people may do well, but we want to excel well. Success is excelling the best. The people at the top means that they excelled where the best left off. And we want to be those type of women. That's what we're going after. So we're going after being that Proverbs woman. We're going after being that type of not even, I don't want to just even say spiritual, because we stop at spiritual, but we want to actually pay attention to we wanted to give you all a soundtrack. So, but you want to pay attention to being that type of woman that is solid like a tree that's planted by the river that can't be moved, that is anchored. And anchored not only in hope and anchored by faith and anchored by belief, but also anchored by who she knows that she is. And that's what I loved about wisdom. Wisdom is not insecure. Go read about her. Proverbs 8 and 9. She is not insecure. She is not doubtful. She is not any of those things. She is 100% secure in who she is. So that is our goal for you. Get involved this month. Get involved in the production of your own success. Let's not hide from the difficulty. Let's not hide from the confrontation, but let's get out of the shadows. Get from behind the past failures and past mistakes. Step out in front and decide, this is who I think I am. So on that note, I leave you to that challenge. We have some great things coming up this week. We're going to do a mental shift, talk through some scriptures about knowing who we are and understanding our identity. And we're going to have some other activities coming up through the month. So get involved. And most of all, I want to invite you all to share your profiles, share your testimonies about who you are as a winning woman. Amen. So God bless you. I look forward to seeing what the fruit of this challenge is going to bring into your life. Until then, I want you guys to stay focused in your identity. God bless you. Have a wonderful month with Winning Women's Network.